12 Navy SEALs were laid out in the hall. A man stood there, staring at their bodies in silence. His name was James, and all 12 of these men had been his soldiers. Just the night before, James had led his SEAL team on a beach landing mission. Their target was Kahani, the leader of a jihadist organization. The team reached the tunnel entrance, cut through the protective mesh, and moved inside. At first, the mission went smoothly. They pushed deep into the tunnel without any problems. But just as they were about to move forward, James suddenly stopped the team. That was when they realized explosives had been planted in the water and above their heads. While they were still deciding whether to take another route or push forward, armed fighters blocked the entrance. 2 team members were killed almost immediately. James led his men to reinforce the front line, but the enemy had numbers, and they were heavily armed. It was obvious now. The SEAL team had walked straight into an ambush. With no other choice, they called for backup while trying to retreat. But during the chaos, one team member forgot about the explosives underwater, and he triggered the blast. 2 hours later, just as the entire SEAL team was about to be wiped out, the rescue team finally arrived. Helicopters cleared out the terrorists surrounding the mountain, giving James and the others a chance to break through. But the next day, James was brought in for questioning. The investigation team asked him why only he and Benzel had survived. That question stunned James, but he quickly pulled himself together and fired back. They had already discovered explosives underwater during the mission, so clearly there had to be a mole inside their intelligence team. And just as James suspected, the investigation later confirmed it. An intelligence officer had been bribed by the jihadist organization and had betrayed the operation. The next morning, James boarded a plane home, but during the flight, his body suddenly started shaking. Memories of the failed mission came rushing back. It was clear James had developed PTSD. When he finally got home, James saw his wife and daughter, who he hadn't seen in a long time. For the first time in days, he felt a little warmth, but that happiness didn't last long. The next morning, James received a call. Benzel, the only other man who had survived the mission with him, had taken his own life the night before. But James knew Benzel. He would never do that. James told the prosecutor things were not that simple, but the prosecutor insisted it was. So James quickly went to his superiors and told them what he believed, but they didn't buy it. They knew James had PTSD and suggested he should see a doctor. But James knew one thing better than anyone. Benzel's sidearm was not the standard 9mm pistol. It was a modified .45 caliber 1911, so there was no way this was. It had to be murder, but no one would listen to him. That evening, James went to the hospital for his appointment. Inside that closed space, his PTSD came crashing back. Images of his teammates dying kept flashing through his mind. After a long while, he finally came back to himself. He shouted for the doctor, but nobody answered. Then he looked up and saw assassins waiting for him. The doctor had already been killed, but James was a former Special Forces soldier. After a short fight, he managed to fight off the assassin. But right away, he realized something terrifying. His wife and daughter might be in danger too, so he rushed home. On the way, his wife didn't answer any of his calls, and that only made the fear inside him grow stronger. When James finally arrived home, the first thing he saw was the scene that would haunt him for the rest of his life. His wife and daughter were lying in blood. Overwhelmed by grief, James couldn't accept what he was seeing. The next day, at the funeral, James carried the coffins of his wife and daughter. High-ranking officials from the military and the Department of Defense all attended the service. It showed just how much James had sacrificed for his country, but as he stared at the 2 coffins, his heart could not calm down. Even after the funeral ended, James refused to leave. No matter how people tried to comfort him or move him away, he stayed there. The following day, Howard, a special investigator from the military, came to find James and ask him some questions, but James was still suspicious of the official ruling that Benzel's death was. So the moment he saw Howard, he already disliked him. As soon as Howard entered, he demanded to inspect the place where James kept his firearms. While checking the area, Howard pointed something out. Only James knew the combination to the safe. So who could have taken his gun? The meaning behind those words made James furious. He would never hurt his own family. Howard also visited James's storage unit. There, he asked one pointed question after another, while continuing to cast doubt on James's mental state. The investigation ended badly. James then went to his superior to voice his concerns about Howard, but his boss clearly wanted to avoid any more trouble. He reminded James that he was the only survivor of his SEAL team and that his family had been murdered. Even he began questioning James's mental condition. That made James briefly lose control because no one wanted the ending to be different more than he did. That night, James sat alone, drinking. Then he came across Howard's social media profile. As James stared at Howard's profile picture, he fell deep into thought. And then all of a sudden, something clicked.